Macedonia in English. Just about everything you want to know.
EU reacts to inter-ethnic incidents in Macedonia. The EU has reacted to the increasing number of inter-ethnic incidents in Macedonia over the previous period. Peter Stano, the spokesperson of EU Enlargement Commissioner Stefan Füle, said the Union is concerned by the deterioration of the situation. It's unfortunate that such incidents take place. The EU expects the leader of the communities and the relevant bodies to take all necessary activities to prevent the tensions from worsening, Stano said. The inter-ethnic demonstrations that resulted in separate incidents last week in Skopje began one day after the EU Troika brokered a deal to end the political crisis in Macedonia. After the stop of ethnic incidents while new demonstrations are announced for Friday, the EU has reacted so that the situation in Macedonia does not get out of control. Interior Minister and political parties on inter-ethnic incidents. The series of incidents that occurred in Skopje resulted in damaged buses, several injured citizens, and damaged property. Minister of Interior Gordana Jankulovska believes someone is trying to destabilize the inter-ethnic relations, and political parties condemn the incidents. The incidents involve anonymous persons who enter buses and attack citizens with baseball bats. I am not excluding the possibility that there are people in Macedonia who want to destabilize the inter-ethnic relations, but I am convinced that the number of citizens who do not want this is larger. I expect them to give their contribution to alleviate the tensions, to reveal the perpetrators and demystify those who want to see increased ethnic tensions, said Jankulovska. Ministry of Interior claims the incidents are not coordinated. Local elections mayoral candidates start campaigns. VMRO DPMNE Veles mayoral candidate Slavcho Chadiev presented part of his election program on Wednesday, promising changes in the country's traffic regime. He said that the deadline for his project is 2014 and it will cost 7 million dinars. VMRO DPMNE and the For a Better Macedonia coalition Ohrid mayoral candidate Nikola Bakrachevsky promised that he will turn Ohrid into a tourist, recreational and sport attraction. Resen independent mayoral candidate Dimitar Buzlevski started his election campaign in Podmochani and Grnchari settlements because he considers them places of multi-ethnic stability and announced that his goal is to preserve such state of affairs. He also promised that he will invest in agriculture, especially in apple production. SDSM Kumanovo mayoral candidate Zoran Damjanovski promised implementing infrastructure projects, whereas SDU's Gazi Baba mayoral candidate Goce Delchev Todev, in front of Hippodrome settlement residents, presented his program and promised lower company name taxes. President Ivanov meets best Tetovo State University students. President Georgi Ivanov received the students with the highest average grade from the social science faculties at the State University of Tetovo. At the meeting with the approximately 30 students, views and stances were shared in direction of improving the quality of Macedonia's education system. At my continued meetings with the best students from several universities across this country, I keep highlighting that the academic citizens are the driving force of the process of development and progress of our country, Ivanov said. Student Zejan Osmani stated that more debates of this type are necessary with the other state institutions and with several factors in the country that will understand the problems facing the students. Debate on media coverage of local elections held. The School of Journalism presented at a public debate the initial findings from its monitoring of professional and ethics standards in the media particularly in view of recent party political and inter-ethnic tensions, a project supported by the Dutch Embassy and OSCE. 257 texts have been covered from the 25th of February to the 3rd of March, while the quality analysis covered 83. The initial qualitative findings of the monitoring show that there are examples of calls for violence, explicit hate and inflammatory speech, negative discrimination or stereotypization on ethnic basis, negative speech directed against individuals and marginalized groups, political bias and demonization of political actors, and tendentious reporting, as well as non-respect of professional standards. The ambassadors of OSCE and the Netherlands, Ralph Breth and Mariette Sherman, respectively, underlined the importance and the role of the media during the election campaign, pointing out the standards as opposed to the challenges. Ambassador Breth stated that independent coverage of elections will have a positive impact on the reports of Macedonia. Government to provide help for flooded regions. According to latest data, 831 families were victims of the floods, which is approximately 3,800 persons, the Macedonian government informs, announcing that it will help those in need. Government spokesperson Alexander Georgiev informed that the government sent financial help on Wednesday to all 831 families in value of 15,500 dinars. I'd like to inform you that these funds have been transferred on the basis of natural disaster and according to the law. Enforcement agents should not use these funds if some of these persons have other debts, said Georgiev. He also announced that the clothes will be delivered by the end of this week, a total of 15,200 pieces. IRC on latest political developments. The Islamic religious community of Macedonia condemned the exerted violence over Albanian students by Macedonian hooligans. IRC expressed its indignation with the incidents through a written statement where they called on competent authorities to solve the violent incidents which occurred in the last days as soon as possible. Moreover, the IRC also reacted against the abuse of religious buildings and their dislocation. Relating to pre-election campaigns, the community called on all Albanian parties to hold peaceful campaigns in line with democratic norms, without incidents as well as without damaging the interhuman, interreligious and interethnic relations.